There's another question here. What is the difference between conventional and ultimate truth? Kindly explain more. And what is Arya truth? So Buddhism makes this distinction between conventional truth, conventional reality, what we call samuti, panyati, which is based on the idea that of people, we are people, a person living in the world, and we have names for things, and we learn in our life through picking up concepts, ideas, stringing them together. So conventional reality and conventional truth is very useful for us as human beings. It's the way we describe life to ourselves and to others, the way we communicate. We give names to everything, names and labels. These can vary between cultures. Linguistically, the world has many different languages. It's that idea of describing things, labeling things, so that we can make sense of the world, think about things, understand things, communicate to other people, the ideas, the concepts, the knowledge that we understand, and so on. It makes the world go round. But the drawback of the conventional truth, or understanding the world on the level of conventional truth, is that it can change according to people's views and opinions and their perceptions of things. Sometimes we can get confused, sometimes we get attached to the conventional truth and are not seeing that attachment. And it can fuel much of our suffering in life when we are not aware that conventional truth is just conventional truth. The labels, the names that we give to things, which can change. One person can call one thing by one word, another person calls it by a different word. One person looks at something in one way, another person looks at the same thing in another way. So you look at a person, you say man, you say woman, you look at a tree, you look at a chair. We give names to everything. These things have all been created by human beings, and they're very useful to us, but at the same time we can be tripped up or deluded by the attachment to that. So for example, Ajahn Chah used to talk about the man who bought a spittoon in the market and brought it home. It's brand new, and in Thailand spittoons can be used for a rubbish bin, literally spitting out something into it. It can be used as a urinal, like as a chamber pot. At night you keep it under your bed, and then you pee into it when you need to go to the toilet, and so on. It's generally used as a receptacle to hold rubbish and dirty things. But this man brought it home, his brand new spittoon, so it was clean, unused, and he said, "Oh, this will be good for putting my rice in." And it's very similar to a pot that you could cook or eat rice out of. So he was eating rice out of it, and then his neighbour saw him and criticised him, joked about him, saying, "Oh, this guy eats rice out of a spittoon." But in the end, a spittoon is just a collection of physical elements. It's metal, largely metal, maybe painted metal. Not that much different from a proper cooking pot. And this is where the difference between conventional reality and ultimate reality, or conventional truth, ultimate truth, comes in. This world is made up of basic building blocks, particularly physical building blocks, what in Buddhism we talk about as the basic elements of existence, which are just what they are, but they can be created into many different things. So you can create a pot and call it a chamber pot or a spittoon, or you can call it a cooking pot. That's the name, the designation you give it. But what is it made of? It's just made of elements, maybe from metal, maybe there's some plastic and other things in there, but it's just elements. That's the ultimate truth, the building blocks that go to make the pot. But how you use it and what you call it, and there's some room for variation there, room for different views, opinions, perceptions about it. So one person sees that they can use a clean spittoon to eat out of, another person sees that as inappropriate or disgusting or something that is foolish. But these are just the views we have surrounding the conventional reality. The ultimate reality is that it's just a collection of elements. And this applies to everything in life. So in Buddhism we talk about 6 elements. The ones most frequently used are the 4, what we call Mahabhuta-rupa, or the 4 physical elements. So that's earth, the solid part of the world. So if you're looking at a person, it's the solid part of the person. The earth element, the water element or the liquid element is the cohesive part of the body. It's like the glue in the body. It's all the liquid elements, the blood, the urine and so on, but also the glue that keeps the cells, keeps things together. The nature of the liquid element is that it runs together, sticks together. So if you pour water on the floor, that water will flow together, those water elements. Whereas you drop some earth on the floor, it just sits there separate, each little particle or piece. Then there's the air element, which is for a human being, that's mainly the breath, coming in and out every day, every moment of every day. And it goes around the body and it allows the body to move. We call it the cause for extension. Why we can actually move this body is actually dependent partly on the air element, providing that ability to extend. And every cell has air in it, so we breathe and the air comes into the body. The last element is the temperature, the fire element, heat and cold. And the body can change temperature, so if you get a temperature, maybe you need to go and see the doctor and check whether you've got a virus. Or sometimes we're out in the winter and you feel very cold and your temperature drops because you're not getting enough warmth from clothing or the sun or anything like that. There's temperature, heat is another of the basic building blocks, and these are what we call ultimate truth, in the sense they don't have to be called anything, they don't have to have a name, but they're there all the time. And then people make things out of them. We make other people, we make furniture, we make buildings, we create all kinds of things in this world, and that's where conventional reality comes back in, what we do with the basic building blocks. The other 2 elements, one is consciousness itself, that ability to know, be aware that we have. That's an element in it. If you reduce it down to its basic form, it's just this quality of knowing. So the Buddha described different elements like seeing. You have a body, then you have eyes. So the eyes are one element made up of those 4 different elements, physical elements. But the eye itself we call it an element, and then there's the form that an eye can see. That's an element, and then the consciousness that arises when an eye sees a form, that's another element. And the thing about elements is they're impersonal, they're just things that are. They're there. Whereas conventional reality gives the rise to this sense of self and can be grasped, and the sense of ownership and attachment arises, facilitated by conventional truth. But the ultimate truth of things is they're just elements. The last element is the space element. We have space in this world, and that's why we fill space. So you sit here, you're filling a space. You build a house, you have a room. What do we tend to do is fill it with furniture and other things. And that's what we're always focused on, but we often miss space, don't we? A room is full of space. The world is full of space, and that's why you can fill it with things. It's another element. The difference between conventional truth, ultimate truth is this, is there's the basic true building blocks of the world, physical, mental, or what we call rupa and nama, and then there's conventional truth where we start to name everything, and this comes from the human mind, and conventional truth is very useful for us, but it can also be the basis for attachment, confusion, mental proliferation, all kinds of mental suffering based on misunderstanding, misinterpreting things. So you own something, you say my car, but if your car crashes or breaks down or gets stolen, you feel suffering because you've lost your car. But actually, the car itself doesn't know anything about that. It's just a collection of elements. Probably this is a big subject, but just giving you some ideas on this. This is something we're investigating, particularly in our practice of insight meditation. We're investigating breaking through or going through the conventional reality to see the ultimate reality, because this is what liberates the mind from its delusions, its wrong grasping of truth.